top of that, at over here at the air base here, one of the pilots, actually, this friend of mine knew one of the pilots, and he said that they were targeting this group, they call it the ET ranch, that they were actually targeting, this ET ranch, not knowing he was a friend of mine. And so McCord and these other air bases in our local area here are flying in and just dumping, this plethora of chemicals and biologicals and everything. And to me, that is the most treasonous, unconscious, cowardly thing you could do.
Well,
to turn these things on your own people.
Yeah,
and be smug about it, and it's okay. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that. These guys are sicker than sick. They're cowards, and they have no courage or integrity whatsoever.
You know, James, how they're made to feel when they do these. They butter them up and say, "Now you're part of an elite team." All the masses out there are just, whatever. And what's going to happen? And this is what the higher forces are telling me, and we're going to start seeing it. Just like when this Cabal craft crashed in California. Ashtar had made a comment. He said that, and this was a comment made a number of years ago, that Volter, one of the cosmic psychotherapists that I communicate with, who said that when spiritual integrity breaks down, mechanical integrity is going to break down too. So this ship that crash landed, according to what I understood, it was being tested. They were going to use it for a possible false flag thing. And Ashtar commented, he said, well, when intent is contradictory to the frequencies, the sacred creation that's coming to Earth right now, anyone who starts to get into these kinds of operations, and now, of course, I'm saying the same thing with the chemtrail, because some of the chemtrail operations are unmanned drones that are flying over. Some of them are manned. And some of them are doing the up close and personal, coming over the ranch and stuff. Those are obviously manned. And what gets me is, but I'm told that as the energy shifts on the planet, these people that are flying, and just like there's thousands of whistleblowers that are starting to come over to the light now because they realize if they don't, they're not going to survive, and it's time to balance out their karma. I think that I was told a few years ago that there's going to be one or more pilots that are going to defect eventually. But much as they've lost their conscience in one level, the energies are going to either make them come around or they're just going to implode. They can't continue to operate. Or if they think they could get away with it because they're elite and they're above the law, that energy is going to backfire on them. It's going to catch up to them. And I would rather see them come over and admit and pique their conscience and say, here's what's going on. I mean, I'd like to program and see somebody courageous enough who comes around, and I feel that's going to happen eventually at some point. I don't know when, but,
Oh, I agree. What I see is, definitely that coming about. But what I see is like, okay, how does this guy go home and go, hi, honey, I'm home, Oh, the kids are sick. Gee, I wonder why they're sick. It might be because I just dumped, about
well, 10 what I think, James?
Toxic chemicals.
I think, James, that these pilots, and this is one of the things that the Cabal, I just was watching Jesse Ventura's show last night. It was kind of fascinating because he was doing this thing on the underground bunkers. Because they know Nibiru is coming in. They've been planning for a long time. And their attitude is, the rest of humanity is kicked to the curb, and we're going to survive. Well, I got news for these people. You can put yourself in the most secure bunker or put 1 million guards around you. You're not going to survive if your consciousness is not attuned to Mother Earth and sacred creation. And for those of us who are attuned to these frequencies, I'm not worried about the future. As long as we take our personal responsibility, really, seriously, and we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to have help, we're going to have support and backing. But these people who think they can go off and bury themselves somewhere and survive, and attitude, the rest of us are just going to fend for ourselves. That's not only mean-spirited. That's not wise to fool Mother Nature in the process. And Mother Earth is going to swallow up these bunkers. They're not going to survive if they have this kind of attitude. So my perception is, that I think these pilots think they've got a special little ticket in one of these underground bunkers and are going to survive. I think they've been told this, but they're eluding themselves. They're really lying to themselves about what survival really means. In consciousness, if you lie to yourself enough, well, it's going to catch up, and reality and accountability has to be dealt with. We can forgive them, but they need to take some responsibility and come around and be willing to acknowledge what they're doing and then work for the light. Okay, we'll forgive them, but we have to be on them, be the guardians to all of this and expose this. And there's a new movie I hear in Hollywood that's about to come out that's a major producer. They're just about to produce this chemtrail movie that's going to really expose a lot more, hopefully, unless there's some interference to block it. But it's coming out. People are waking up really, really fast.
Yeah, I think it's What on Earth Are They Spraying or something. Or
yeah, something like that. Now, Chemical came out in 2009, which was pretty good. You know, they took some stuff even from mainstream media about the jelly stuff coming out of the sky, you know, and the Morgellons disease connection with the chemtrails, too. So they're things are starting to shift. People are waking up really, really fast right now. And I think these new energies coming on the planet that have never been here before are really powerful for, you know, accelerating our growth. And I've noted this, too, through when I do these transformational channel readings. The energies that are coming in are really accelerating things very, very fast. People are really excited and want to really embrace, get their missions fulfilled and not waste their time with all this waste, you know, all these effluvious things that we can't take with us. I think we need to really focus on the quality of what our lives are, what we stand for, and what we need to do. And I think the higher forces are giving us support. And I think the spray thing that they're targeting you is going to backfire on them. I really think there's some planes are going to come down if they keep this up.
It's like instant karma.
I think we're going to see some of these planes crash. We've been getting a lot of
communication here from the higher beings lately, and just about 45 minutes ago, I had one of them sitting right in front of me. It was interesting. I was meditating, and I could see his face very clearly. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the beings that's in charge of the dispensation of energies on the earth, and helping this shift kind of go a little more graceful, this huge frequency shift we're under. And, you know, he's part of the Orion Council of Light. But there's another, some Pleiadian ones have been coming in. And, you know, some of their talk almost sounds biblical. It's really interesting. They talk about God, and they call God a frequency and a force, and it's love, and love heals. And focus on love, and allow that love to move through you and heal you. But they said that this flow or this wave has stepped up, and it's like, in a way, the scepter's been passed to the higher beings, and the hands-off program is no longer applicable, and so we're going to undergo some huge energy waves and frequency shifts, and basically the tyranny is not going to be able to sustain itself in this frequency, as well as those who've been willing participants in their crusades against humanity, Earth, and I was wondering, are you getting a similar message or something very similar to that?
Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, I heard that just a couple days ago, the Bilderbergs had this emergency meeting because they're freaking out. All the stuff happening. They're like, you know, that's like they've never had to deal with this before, and they're panicking, and they're because they're picking up in all their sophisticated monitoring stuff. I mean, they've got some, you know, well, not compared to the Elohim. They're like, it's so backward, it's hilarious, but you know, what they think is so incredibly, you know. But as the old story, I love it when, you know, the higher forces say, yeah, Big Brother monitors you, but Big Space Brother's monitoring them, and you know, since we've had homeland insecurity, you know, we're extremely insecure, and they're very anal retentive, and they don't have much fun and joy in their heart. And I think it's time for them to loosen up a little bit and come over and start partying with the good guys, and sort of go over there, like, you know, isolated and planning all these little strategies, because the 9/10 of everything they've ever planned is all falling apart now. And now it's going to become 100%, and they're being hemmed in. And so, yeah, they can go off to little bunkers and underneath the earth. But guess what? Earth is just about to swallow them up. If they don't start playing fair with the rest of us, yeah, they're just going to lose everything. It's like, I call it the grease pig effect. Everything going to slip out of their hands, and it's all, you know, the first will be last will be first. It's one of the sayings where, you know, those of us who've been struggling and doing the righteous things, it's starting to start coming to us. We're getting a lot of help, going to get a lot of support. And as long as we keep our hearts pure and open, use our discernment, cognitive, deductive reasoning, everything's going to flow very smoothly for us. And the only thing we need to keep focused is our priorities and our mission, and we'll do the things that we know are going to achieve with our backup team, cosmic backup team, helping us. So, you know, they're getting up close and personal now, and it's an exciting time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I looked at some of these videos with these UFOs flying around the world, and basically, you know, there was a lot going on, you know, 10/13 and 10/14, but I know if I were to give another date and just throw it out there, that all of a sudden these videos would come in around the world with all these UFOs in them again. So, you know, not trying to steal this guy's thunder, you know, I think it's great.
Well, you know, James, one of the things that's happening out right above Earth, you know, up about several hundred miles, and up to all the way, you know, toward Venus, Mars, the area is getting really crowded with lots of ships right now. Huge motherships are coming in. You know, when CD, you know, some stuff slipped out from CD, and then I saw the NASA film with the videos of the, you know, the ships that from 4 to 5,000 miles in length that were lined up in the rings of Saturn, and they're gearing up. I mean, there's a huge amount of ships coming in right now that's really exciting, but it's freaking out the cabal big time, because it's like, oh my God, the size of some of these ships are like thousands of miles across, and it's part of our extended family. They're getting ready to have this great reunion that we've all been promised, and it's like, darned if their cabal's going to get in the way out.
You know, something just happened
time
with NASA, which is quite interesting, but they had this huge M-class flare that went off, and then there was this filament that was right in front of it when it went off. And
what are you talking about, James? I wasn't catching
a solar flare, like an M-class solar flare, just went off, and huge one, massive one, and there's this filament from it. Somebody just sent me an email on it. I looked at it. I go, well, wait a second. Why didn't that filament that went right over the top of that thing get disrupted? And they pointed that out in the email. And they said, obviously something's intervening and helping us with this sun program that's going on, because the sun is going to be going ballistic. And I think eventually it will actually take down a lot of the satellite technology and other things. And you know, I was hoping that the higher forces would come in and just negate some of these negative satellites that they're using to use psychotronics and other things, and just take out HARP, and probably will. But if they don't intervene, I know the sun is going to, and so either way, they are going to lose their toys, and rather than continue to create this mountain of karma, you know, which is going to be accelerated, you know, exponentially with these new frequencies coming in. It'd be wiser just to, just flip the switch on these things, or start using them for good.
Yeah, exactly. That's, you know, the boys have their toys and the big boys have their toys. It's time, you know, from all the black op covert little laboratories, time to bring it all out and turn it around, recalibrate it for positive use. I mean, it doesn't really take that much to do it. It's just finally acknowledging who's really in control, in charge, of divine order, and these beings begrudgingly getting out of the way and letting the rest of us start enjoying, you know, what we should have a long time ago had access to. And so it's just a matter of time. That's the sense of time that, you know, but we, the citizens, are doing our part to ground the light and to tune in and receive the information we need to, and just keep the pressure on. And the sooner the better, things are going to shift. So it is an exciting time, and, you know, we've been waiting all our life for this moment. And, it's, you know, then that's the question about the sun, because on one hand, you know, that's the thing I feel too. As we shift our consciousness, we don't need to be concerned about it, but on a very pragmatic level, the question of, will the whole grid go down, or will it the energies choose? Some of the grid will stay up for those, and then the cabal will all go down. I think we can focus that. The ones who've abused, you know, let them lose the grid, but the rest of us, during the transition phase, of course, who needs it if we have a better system anyway that's about to come in? You know, how long duration will the transition be? You know, but it's an interesting scenario here.
You know, one thing I do know, there is another energy grid that can be put into place, and it's not affected by magnetics or the sun. And it's the energy generated by the fuelless energy machines. They're not affected by this, and if you took a few of those, I mean, one of the size of a house would operate a whole city. These, and I know they exist because I've seen one. But anyway, we could put these in place and just cruise through this whole thing. They're not available now mainly because the people haven't got behind them, and they've given all their power away to the status quo. And the status quo is actually run by the oil companies, which do not want to see this stuff out. So I think, again, it goes back to accountability and responsibility, and who are you giving your power to? And if you want these devices to come forward, people have to rise up and get behind them and hold people accountable that are trying to stop these from coming out. Well,
that's another thing, too. You know, these environmental groups, they've been pushing this global warming thing, which, in my opinion, having studied it and researched, especially after these emails came out, I mean, Earth is being polluted. But the thing is, the power early on, it turns out, got involved in pushing the environmental agenda of global warming, well, they're suppressing all this other technology, and as a way to tax us, literally using the environmental movement as a way to tax us and put regulations that also restrict our constitutional rights. And this, to me, there's some contradictions there that need to be sorted out. I mean, I'm very passionate about environmental issues, but when I see something being used and infiltrated for a covert reason so that certain agencies and corporations make profit off it, but don't give back anything to